Hi guys, Caboozles here, and I just thought I'd give you a deck profile on my Infernoids. This is my favourite of my decks at the moment, and it's definitely my main deck. It's the best one of my decks. It's the one I would run at, say, regionals or one of those LLDS things that I may go to soon. It's a really fun deck. I enjoy it. It's not as sort of helmet as people say. There is actually some skill into playing the deck, which I will get into. It's not just reasoning or bust. But it's a really fun deck to play. I like it this format. It's also a bit less risky because I doubt any of it's going to get hit by the ban list that's coming up. And it's just a great deck. I advise picking this up now. It's a bit cheaper from the Megatins. Well, not all of it's in the Megatins, but yeah. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, we will start with the monsters, and more specifically, let's start with the normal summons. So first of all, I run 3 Decatron. 3 of him is absolutely necessary. This card was such a boost to the deck. I mean, he's just really good. He lets you he lets you destroy Imperial Iron Wall. If you can send something like, say, Antra to the grave or Petrulia, Antra will get rid of it for a turn because it will return it to the hand because he gains their effect. So he'll send the card. When he's normal or special summoned, he'll send 1 Infernoid from your deck to the grave. And then he gains that Infernoid's level and effect. So he's obviously a tuner, so gaining the level is awesome for that. And gaining their effect means he can destroy cards or just help you with anything that's in your way. 1 Card Trooper. I've tried without Card Trooper, but I really like him because, or at least one of him, because he really helps you get out Dante more often. And especially for like a rank 3, so it only takes up 3 of your levels, because obviously you can only summon if you've got less than 8 or less on the field. Total level / rank, unless it's a normal monster. So he helps you go into Dante, who's just a really good card. He's got really high attack for his rank, and yeah, it really helps. 1 Lila, for the things like Imperial Iron Wall and spell and trap removal. I have thought about cutting her, but I like her at the moment at 1. 2 Raiden, the best Lightsworn. It's a great card. Yeah, and that's it for the normal summons for me. I don't run Lumina. I've tested her, but I just think she's a bit slow and cloggy, and sometimes you can just open Lumina and have no Lightsworns in the grave. So I don't think it's worth running Lumina at the moment. 1 PMAce. Only 1 because his stats are so low, like 0/0. He can only do his whole thing of just shuffling a set card into the deck. I know they can't respond to it, but I just don't think he's worth running at more than 1. Sorry about the sniffling, by the way. I've got a bit of a cold. 2 Antra. He's pretty good. I like Antra. He is the one that lets you bounce face a card. He's only got 2,000. 2,000 defense is quite high, but because you can't set Infernoids, because you have to special summon them all apart from Decatron. So the 2,000 isn't as good as it would be if you could just set him, kind of thing. But he is a great card and useful at times, but not worth running at 3. However, 3 Harmodic, I really like. Again, he helps you get out this guy, another rank 3s. He can just pop a monster if you need to, which it's always good if you can pop a monster. And he's got 1,600, which isn't the best, but it still works. And if he pops a monster, he can't attack. But I tend to just use his effect, use his effect, and then either synchro or Xyz him away. So yeah, 3 Petrulia. He can get rid of a spell or trap and then can't attack otherwise. He's pretty good. I actually don't use him all that often. I'm not entirely sure why. I guess I don't run into problem spells and traps that often. 3 Side Smats. Great. If he does battle with a card, at the end of the battle phase, he can banish a card in the field. So this is great for getting rid of, against those graveyard-focused decks, or for getting rid of things like Floodgates or anything, or just back row. He's just all-round a great card. I think him and this guy Atondel are the best cards. The number of times you can OTK with Atondel is just unreasonable. He's so good. If he destroys a monster per battle, he can attack again. And he's got 2/8, so he's just great. And then only 1 Anunsu and 1 Deveity. Both great cards, but they take too many removed to the grave in order to get out, so it's not worth running more than this amount of them, and usually they're in your grave if you need them, kind of thing, so they are great cards. And obviously, because you can now choose which Infernos you send to the grave with Decatron. I think you only need one of each. So let's move on to the spells. For our spells, I only actually run 2 Void, which are the Infernoid spells. So 2 Void Seer, great card. When you use its quick play effect, it's unaffected by opponent's card effects for the turn. So this card is fantastic, and then if it's in the graveyard, you can just banish it instead of destroying Infernoids, and that doesn't start a chain, so that is great. But again, 2 of them, because I always seem to draw 2 of these at once, which is just annoying, and can be cloggy. And Infernoids is a deck that is a bit prone to brick hands anyway. So yeah, 2 Galaxy Cyclone, really great in this deck, better than MST obviously because you can mill it. I'm not sure about 2 though, at the moment I run 2, I may cut that down to 1, I'll show you what for later on in the video. 1 Raigeki, because it's Raigeki, Monster Gate, you need it for Infernoids really. Yeah, now on to the, 1 for 1, he can bring out Decatron, so it's a great card, and it's not really a minus in this deck because your Infernoids can still be summoned from the grave, so long as you get rid of one of the big ones, the ones that can be summoned from the grave, then you're fine. 3 Reasoning, because it is Infernoids. Reasoning is just brilliant in this deck. I'm sure you will know what it does if you're here on this deck profile. 2 Charge of Light Upgrades, because it's at 2, we're running Light Swans, and it's a mill and a search, so there's nothing bad about that in this deck. 1 Burial from the Different Dimension, really great. Don't want to run more than 1 because it can clog, but it's just good to have. And then finally, 3 Drag Down to the Grave. Now, I saw this in some other profiles and tried out myself. I love this. It speeds up the deck so much, and it can also interrupt your opponent's plays, especially if they're not expecting it. But I mean, it's becoming more popular, but it's a great card. So that's it for the main deck now. But before I go on to the extra, I'm going to mention these 2 cards. Now, Book of Moon, you all know that card, it's great, and Void Imagination is the fusion spell for Infernoids. It also makes them all level 1, so you can summon as many out as you want, and it is a good card. I'm currently siding it. I'm not sure about maining it or not, because it's like Shadow Fusion, so you can fuse from the deck if they have an extra deck card out. So I think I'm going to keep this in my side and side it in for heavier decks, for extra deck heavy decks. So I do have the fusion in my extra, and that's why it's here. I actually have 2 of these in the side. And Book of Moon I want to put in. I may cut a Galaxy Cyclone for it, but it's just the fact that Galaxy Cyclone is useful from the grave. So I'm not sure about that, but then this is such a great card, so I don't know. If you have any suggestions of what I should cut for this, or any other cards I should put in, let me know. And now let's move on to the extra deck. So we'll start with the rank 3s. Dante, brilliant card. You all know what he does. If only if he was less expensive, but apart from that, he's great. Levia, this is great because you can special summon your banished Decatrons with it, which can really get your plays going even more. Castell, you don't know what he's like. I'll come on to those ones later, actually. Exciton, because it's Exciton, 101. You can rank 7s in this deck, so Big Eye and Dracosac. Then we'll go on to the Synchros. Clearwing, great card. Ancient Sacred Wyvern is fantastic in this deck. There's a lot of OTKs with, say, him and Atondel. Because obviously his attack goes up when your life points are higher than your opponent's. If you can manage to get an attack directly off with Atondel, and you haven't lost any life points, or they've upstart goblined you, the difference will be, I think this attack will go up to something like 5-2. I may be wrong on that. I mean, that's just from memory. But basically, you can OTK with just this and an Atondel on the field, which is why I was thinking about putting Lumina back in, because you get this out much more often if you have Lumina in the deck. So it is great for that. Black Rose, Star Eater, and Tierra. He's the fusion monster. He is really good. I mean, he's got quite a high attack, and the effects are okay. They're about sending cards, either like his first effect. Depends how many Infernos you send, basically. If you send 3 or more, he will send 3 cards from each player sends 3 cards from the extra deck to the graveyard. 5 or more is top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. 8 or more is returns 3 of their banished cards to the graveyard, and 10 or more is sends their entire hand to the graveyard. So if you manage to get all of your Infernos out with it, then yeah, he's pretty good. But the most important cards in the extra deck are actually these 3. Gem Knight Pearl, Gaia Knight, Force of Earth, and Scrap Archfiends. These are all normal monsters, if you haven't noticed. And the Infernoid summoning condition, if you have a look at it on here, if we can get this to focus, which would be nice. Focus. Yeah. So the level and ranks of all effect monsters are 8 and lower. Now, that is the important thing, because that means that if you have these out, they don't count towards your levels and ranks. They can really facilitate your OTKs. So you can just summon out as many Infernoids as you need whilst these are on the field. So they're really important and really good. These are the 3 that you should definitely have in your extra. Apart from that, Infernoids can have a really varied extra, to be honest. They can make up a lot of levels in terms of both XYs and synchros, and obviously the fusion. I know some people play 3 of the different fusions, because if you play 3 of this, with its effect to send cards from your extra deck to the grave, you can send more of these, which will then mean you have more Inferno names to banish for your Infernoids. And obviously, if you've summoned this, you usually have the Void Imagination, so it'll be level 1, so you can bring out more Infernoids. The main issue with this is, whilst they're level 1, all the damage that they do to your opponent is halved, which is really annoying, but it is a great card. I'm not sure. I think I like it. In terms of the other Infernoid support that I haven't put in here, some of it's quite good. I mean, there's that one that lets you, I think it lets you send one from your deck to the grave, and it's continuous, which is great, but it just blows up if you control any non-Infernoid monsters, and at the moment, I think that you need to run non-Infernoids to make this deck work properly, so it's a bit annoying. I think this deck is out of support for now, which is really, really, really annoying, but it's one I'm going to hold on to in the hopes that there will be future support. Yeah, so if you... Oh yeah, all the Infernoids have the ability, apart from the 2 big ones, to tribute themselves in order to banish a card in your opponent's grave, which is great. It's one of the best things about this deck. It lets you avoid things that would shuffle your cards back into the deck and not let you load up your grave, as well as really interrupting your opponent's decks. And then you have Duveity and Ununsu. These cards are both great. One negates monster effects by tributing it. The other negates spell and trap effects by tributing it. If you want me to do sort of a more detailed guide into how Infernoids work, then I can do that. If I get any requests for that or comments for that, I will do it. But at the moment, I think there's some great guides out there anyway, and this was sort of just showing the way I run the deck. So thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe.